unprecedented. For the first time in our lives, we will be celebrating Holy Week and the Easter Triduum in our very own homes, not in our parishes. Hello and peace be with you. My name is Kachang Kevin, and you're watching the second episode of Catholics at Home. Let me introduce who's on the show today. Well, I have a new co-host for today. She's from Kota Kemuning and the wife of my previous co-host, Mark Darren Lee. Hello, Melissa. How are you doing?
Hi, Kevin. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you're not nagging Mark in a Doraemon voice, huh?
I try not to.
Now I'd like to welcome our special guest. He's back from the first show. Very popular and very loved by our viewers. It's Fr Clarence Devadass. Hello, Father.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Father.
Fr Clarence, from the first show, we found out a few things about you. A couple of which is that you've been eating a lot of pasta during the MCO and you're a Star Wars fan. Is that a fair description?
Oh, yes. Trying to catch up and watch all the previous episodes too.
What do you cook today, Father?
Right.
Well, today was reheating of some an egg curry and some fried chicken.
Nice.
We'll survive.
Wow.
We will survive. Don't worry.
Very good. And today we have not one but two priests. Besides Fr Clarence, just as charming, known as the priest with a golden voice. We'll try to get him to sing a little later, maybe. He is Fr Patrick Masang. Good afternoon, Father.
Good afternoon, Kevin and Clarence and Melissa.
Hi, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Father.
Father Pat, welcome to the show. Now, in the previous show, Fr Clarence spoke about where he's being quarantined. We'd like to know where is home for you and how have you been coping with the movement control order? What have you been doing?
Me? Well, my home now is in Ipoh. I've got a very big compound, so I do a lot of walking in the compound when I need to do my 10,000 steps, trying to keep up to that.
Wow, we have very fit clergy, Fr Clarence. Is that true?
Yeah, I
Is
guess
the clergy all keeping very fit?
we are trying our level best.
Okay, fantastic. So now, today's show, the title is going to be I'll Be Home, not for Christmas, but for Holy Week and Easter. So we are wondering, how can we make this period, this season, as meaningful as it usually is when we are connected to our parish, especially when we're attending Holy Thursday, Good Friday. How can we make it more meaningful in our homes, and how we can maybe create this, as Father Clarence spoke in the previous show, create the space, create the environment, and also prepare our hearts internally. So I guess before we start about that, there's a question that came in one of our channels. That how are we going to do confession? Now that penitential service is cancelled, is it possible to do confession online, Father Clarence?
Well, yeah, that's a question everybody's asking, online or whether over the phone. I think the Holy Father has come out with very, very practical, down-to-earth advice, and he talks about the compassion and mercy of God. And if you really, at this time, if you're unable to get a priest, to go directly to God. I think that video has been going around quite a bit already. And he says, and the next possible opportunity that you get when the MCO is lifted, when things are a bit more calm and our lives back to almost normal, then to go seek a priest for confession. So I think there's always the possibility of seeking God's mercy directly from God in such circumstances. I think Penang Diocese, I've seen the statement come out. They're also offering general absolution on Good Friday by doing certain things, by praying before the cross. General absolution generally is given to, in difficult situations. But, even then, you're called to, in the case of mortal sin, next possible opportunity to go to confession. So these are avenues the Church has offered us in the absence of personal one-to-one confession during the MCO.
Father Pat, has any of your parishioners ask you this question, and how would you respond to them in Ipoh?
Well, I always tell them to wait for this movement order to finish, and then they can come to me personally as usual, So we had prepared people for confessions much earlier already, what we did in our parish. And well, those that really need to see a priest will have to wait. But believe in God's forgiveness and make an act of contrition. But find the opportune time to come and see a priest, and we are always here.
Right. And but seeing as how now technology has really moved in, like Fr Clarence, you mentioned, we are forced to engage in this sort of connection and communication. Will we ever see online confessions in the future, do you think?
Maybe an app.
I'm not.
Confession app, yeah, probably. Will it ever get approved?
Well, it's hard to predict the future. I mean, who would have thought we are doing all this today, even just 6 months ago? Circumstances have forced our hands to do something like this. But who knows what the future holds for us? But for the moment, confession is a very personal encounter between God through the priest. And I think given the situation that we are in, we are unable to do that. But we wait for the normal situation to come back so that there's this personal engagement and encounter. I think for me as a priest, it's quite different, to do it online. I mean, I think it's a bit strange not being able to read the mood and the emotions of the person as you are ministering to them, just like any other sacrament.
Yeah, and this element of secrecy also, because now someone can hack into your computer, someone can tape something, and all these confessions can go viral. There's the danger, and then that's it. It's going to be more scandalous when you have, confessions online and people take it to a different level. That's the danger of this kind of technology. People can tap into these things. So better to be safe than sorry.
Yes, that's a very good point, Father Pat. Now we are just a couple of days to Palm Sunday, where we begin Holy Week. We don't have any palms in our homes because we've given them to the church to make the ashes for Ash Wednesday. So I suppose just to create the environment, what would you suggest for this Palm Sunday? Do we need to get palms from nearby, from the garden or something like that? Or how would we approach Palm Sunday digitally?
What are you asking?
Either of you, maybe Father Pat, you want to start? Since Father Pat, you are quite creative. We recognize your floating crib from last Christmas, and you must be one of the many creative priests we have. So how can you share your creativity with us?
Well, I think they should kind of journey with the church, because we begin Holy Week and we call it Passion Tide, where religious statues and crosses, beginning on Palm Sunday, are covered with a purple cloth or any kind of cloth, to drape it with cloth, so that we would meditate and our minds will be more focused on the resurrection of Christ and his suffering. So all your statues can be draped in purple cloth. That would be a good start. And also maybe on your front gate, I'm sure you can find some kind of ferns, if not palms. There's a lot of coconut trees in the neighborhood. Something that will welcome Palm Sunday, or even a writing on your gate, Hosanna, welcome to the King, or whatever it is. You can ask your kids to be creative. Your front door can have all beautiful arrangements like what you did for Christmas on the door, the hollies, but this time you can use palm arrangements and tie it with a beautiful ribbon to start Holy Week with, or to start Palm Sunday. That's when we begin Passion Tide. And be as creative as you can at the start of the season, Then maybe when you go to Holy Thursday, the key phrase there is when Jesus says, "Do this in memory of me." And when you gather, maybe on your table, you can have you're going to buy bread and food, right?
Yeah.
Light candles on your display of the food and whatever it is, and have a Thanksgiving prayer as if it was Thanksgiving, and recall a nice story, and don't rush through the meal. And before you say the grace before meals, right, for Holy Thursday, maybe you can pray for the less fortunate, the people who will go without meals on that day, and make it meaningful. And because you will not be witnessing the washing of feet, maybe before the meal, when Christ, before he broke bread, it could be a moment of reconciliation. Wash the feet of someone in the family. If you can't just sit with the person, hold the person's hand. Use the sanitizer and wipe and say, I want to thank you for the many things you've done, for cooking for me all. You will find ways and means to be thankful. And maybe to ask pardon for sometimes your misgivings or whatever it is. Find a way of a ritual of cleansing. I think the sanitizer is a good thing to use at this time of this pandemic. And also during the season, your family albums, take them out, share stories of the past. Do this in memory. You recall the stories that the younger generation do not know from your family albums, and share these beautiful memories with them so that part of your family history will not be lost. All right? Then when you enter into Good Friday, that's a beautiful time. You can start with the Stations of the Cross in the morning. And then I think from our website, the Penang Diocese, you can download the various prayers and the various things you can do from Palm Sunday to Easter. Get into that, and then you have it with your family members. But for this time, when you have the Good Friday, remember these words when Jesus says, "No greater love has a man than when he lays down his life for the others." Pray for the people in the front lines that are sacrificing their safety and their health to attend to the COVID-19 victims. And for Malaysia, remember Father John Chia from Kuching. He was doing a lot of work ministering during this period, and I think he died from pneumonia. That's part of COVID-19. Pray for the more than 30 priests that have died because of this pandemic. Pray for your loved ones, and pray for all those that have lost family members. That will be a good thing to do during Good Friday. Bring your crosses to the altars, your burdens or whatever it is. You can write letters, you can write these things, and then you can put them in envelopes and pray about it. At the end of your service, you can just burn these things. And don't forget the pillars of the season about prayer, fast, and almsgiving. Pray because we express our love for God. Fasting to deprive ourselves, to love ourselves a little more and not to eat all the stupid junk food and forget about the needs of others. And then almsgiving, to think about the needs and put aside something when you're able to give out in kind or in cash. All right? And get ready for Easter. It's a beautiful season. It's the biggest season. It's bigger than Christmas. This is the moment you can decorate your house without the Christmas tree, flowers, your dining room, put beautiful candles. Don't forget to have your agape meal. Because when Jesus says, "Do this in memory of me," have a meal on Skype or WhatsApp web where you can see the people on the other part of the world, or your friends or your neighbors or your family members that are far away. Just connect with them every day of those moments you're celebrating liturgy. For Easter Sunday, since you're not going to sing Christmas carols, sing your favorite Easter songs. That's it.
Nice, very
Yeah, Father Pat.
creative ideas. I think I can get the voice busy after this.
Okay.
I guess there are lots of things that we can do. I think I was saying in the first show also, I think we need to create the space, the atmosphere that we are still in Holy Week, and not to forget that, Someone told me that, this is going to be a palmless Sunday, I said, it doesn't have to be a palmless Sunday. You can create,
That's right.
your own homes. You can create your own family atmosphere to celebrate. I think that what's important is that the spirit of Holy Week. And I think that's the most important thing, to be in the spirit of Holy Week, even though we are not connected with the church, we are not present in the church for all our long liturgies. Some will love them, some will drag themselves to these liturgies, but the spirit of Holy Week is what I think draws us, as you mentioned rightly, it's the core of our faith, the passion, the death, and the resurrection.
That's right.
Father Pat, what's your favorite Easter song? I know you're a good singer. What's your favorite Easter song?
Good Lord. Christ our Lord is risen. But don't ask me to sing it now, okay?
Would you like to give us
today? It's a lovely song.
Give us
The
a short
Regina
verse,
Celli.
Father Pat.
No,
Right.
Yeah.
Regina Celli, favorite.
So Melissa, what are your plans for Holy Week with the boys, the family?
Now I have some ideas. So like Father Pat mentioned, I think I can ask them to get creative and, like decorate and for Palm Sunday first. And then after that, moving into Holy Thursday, we plan on the washing of the feet with our family members. Yeah, I mean, these are good ideas for, let's say, families, people who are around other family members. What about those who are like alone at home and they are far away from their families, maybe missing their families? So to set the mood, it's not going to be as easy as being with the whole family.
That's true.
Yeah.
Give them
I
a
think
call
for us,
and talk to them. Yeah.
Via Zoom.
I think for us, for us priests too, it'll be a very different experience, isn't it, for the pet? I mean, I don't recall, all my years as a priest has always been a place that I have gone to for the Holy Week liturgies, and it's a different experience. How do you feel personally, Father Pat? Just to share.
Well, we are going to have some kind of liturgy because we're living in community. So it's always going to be a celebration for every time, every day of the Easter Triduum. We're going to have something with the community. It's meals, whether it's the washing of feet, whether it's asking for forgiveness, whether this is the Mass. We'll have the Exultat. We will do everything as it would be in the church because we're living in community.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people who are preparing for the Easter sacraments, the sacraments of initiation. They're all getting ready, very excited, looking forward to baptism on Easter Vigil night. Suddenly, they feel like this whole situation has changed. What would you say to them, Father Pat? What would you say to all those who are longing and waiting for baptism, and now they have to postpone it indefinitely?
Yeah. Well, we have told them much earlier that they will have to wait for this grand thing to happen. And they are also having their reflections at home. I know I long to be with them. I just miss the teaching and the fellowship that we're supposed to have. But they're patient. They said they can wait because it'll happen anyway. It will happen anymore. So, we will celebrate it maybe in a bigger way.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we saw quite a number of them at the rite of election, coming together, all excited with their sponsors, and now they have to wait a little longer. I guess this year, Lent for all of us is prolonged. It's a prolonged Lent and a much more profound Lent in many ways. We are quite accustomed to just, as you were saying, the three pillars of prayer, of fasting, of almsgiving. And we have done this for a number of years in our lives, but being confined to an enclosed space, Lent brings about a new meaning also for all of us, I guess. How has Lent been, Melissa, for you all? Being in the family, being confined to a small space.
Okay, so far it's been so good. Yeah, because everybody is around, so it's also a test of patience. But so far, so good. You know, we get to spend more time in the sense that we get to cook together, prepare meals. We spend more time in prayer together as a family at home and together with the family not at home, with our extended families as well via Zoom. Yeah, it's been not too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it looks like we have kind of lost Kevin in this conversation, and I'm having to take over this conversation.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Question. Oh, Kevin's back.
Yeah,
So, right, for let's say for Easter Vigil, while we follow Mass, you know, in our own homes on TV, would you suggest like maybe, you know, to set ourselves in the mood, maybe we also have we switch off the lights and then, you know, we start with the candles and you know, and like how we do in church?
So I think the ambience is very important to such celebrations. Yeah. Set the ambience. Dress up. Silence is very important for if you're watching the live streaming to really listen.
And of course, it's going to be a very long service, when it comes to the readings and all that. There's going to be a lot of distractions, especially when we're at home. So how do we make sure we are focused to the readings and especially the gospel? Is going to be a lot of role play in terms like that. Are the priests going to have additional people to help with the role play as usual?
No, Kevin. No, in this situation, no. And I think that the Vatican has also given us a kind of an abridged liturgy during these days. So you will not see the full as how you would go to church. So there are some things that are shorter. For example, for Holy Thursday, there won't be any washing of the feet. So, you know, and then on Good Friday and also on Holy Saturday. So the liturgy has been also adapted to this new situation, because in many parts of the world, if I dare say, in fact, in all over, most people are going to switch on to live streaming to watch Holy Week liturgies.
Next question.
It's a bit lagging. Okay, so because I was away, I think you all have covered most of it, right? Is there anything else that we left out?
Oh, thank you, Father Pat, for giving us ideas, for beautiful ideas, what we can do. Excellent.
All right. One element I forgot is one on solitude, just to be quiet during this time. To take time in prayer and just to remain still and be quiet. Don't look at your phone and get all the updates so much. Don't be so anxious about things. Spend time in solitude.
Okay, thank you very much, Father Patrick Masang. We hope we'll have you on the show again at some time to talk about more of other topics that we will come up with in the weeks to come. And also, Father Clarence, thank you very much for your time to join us today. And hopefully we'll list down those tips as well on our Facebook page. If you do not know by now, we have a brand new Facebook page. It's Catholic at Home Podcast. That's where you can watch this video. You can watch the recording of this chat that we're having between Father Clarence and Father Patrick Masang. And of course, thank you to Melissa for helping to produce this show. So have a blessed week ahead. Have a blessed Holy Week to everyone, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.
All.
Take care.
Thank you.
Blessed Holy Week.
Happy Easter in advance. Happy Holy Week.
Happy Easter.
Prayerful Holy Week.